Welcome back to the Retire Young Radio Show. I am your host, Joshua David, having a good time talking about the financial markets with my good friend and the whole mastermind of this operation, Mr. Al Connickson. Don't forget to subscribe to the Retire Young podcast on Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Al, as we get into this final segment of the show here this week, we covered a lot of topics. We covered, how the smart money is creating income, how they are selling the public products, which costs a lot of fees. And we got a lot of calls in this last segment, and people want to understand more about those fees and more about self-directing. I don't think we got into that enough. Now, when you self-direct, there's more opportunity with more options, no pun intended. You can use other assets, the futures market, the Forex market, and the options market. Why are they such good opportunities for the average investor, let's just say starting out in their investment career?
Sure. When you're starting out, you're in that kind of accumulation phase where you want to accumulate assets, both to use now and to be able to use to put together a longer term portfolio for your retirement. Because let's face it, at some point in time, you will be retired, whether you want to or not. It may not be up to you. Your employer might have a different plan than you have, so you may not be able to work as long as you want. But at some point in time, you're going to be retired. And while you're still working, while you're in that accumulation phase now, kind of filling that income bucket, that's where you're going to learn the strategies to be able to access cash on a shorter term basis. When you're in retirement, is that important? Absolutely. First of all, that extra income, that extra cash, utilizing these leveraged assets, the short-term trading vehicles now, that's going to help you to fill the wealth bucket where you're probably putting together a longer-term portfolio. That probably is going to be a stock portfolio, but it's not something you put together and just forget about, which most people do. That's that buy and hold or buy and forget. You put together a portfolio and then you just let it ride. And that's not the way to get the best benefit out of it. There are ways of utilizing these shorter term assets. Options, for example, is a great one to kind of boost the returns of that long-term portfolio. And then also look at the potential, the possibility of maybe taking some profits along the way instead of just letting everything ride, looking at a potential profit 10 or 20 or 30 years into the future. Our students will look at a trade in three different components. One is the entry, the right entry. That's where you're going to kind of time the right price level to get into or out of a trade. And then also you want to be set if you are going to be providing a profit, if you identify the profit potential, you want to be able to protect it. So there's an exit point to protect your profit. There's also an exit point to protect your capital if you're wrong. So those are the three components. And that really helps to increase the confidence in doing this because you don't have to sit in front of a computer and watch something all the time. You just set it. So if you're right, you're in the trade. If you're wrong, there's an exit position that protects your capital. And if you're right and you have a profit, there's an exit position that protects your profit. So that's kind of the way of presetting a trade so you don't have to be there watching it all the time.
Well, basically, Al, what Al's talking about is where to get in, but also where to get out. And that's what the proper, I guess we'll say, the smart investors, the smart money is doing. They don't just go out there and buy a stock or buy oil or buy gold because it looks cool. They have a strategy. They have a reason why they're doing that. And that's why it is important to have a core strategy that's designed to teach you as far as where to get in, but also where to get out. And Al was talking about you don't have to sit at your computer. Well, I mean, some people sit, some people stand. But what he's telling you is you set that up ahead of time and the computer executes it for you. There's platforms that actually do that for you. And what that actually helps you do is it takes the emotion out of your trading and investing because you set it up. There's a reason why you put that trade on. And there's a reason why where you're going to get in, but also where you're going to get out. We talk a lot about self-directing accounts and we talk about retail accounts, just all the different types of accounts that are out there. And we have a lot of listeners that are in that accumulation phase right now. They're looking to build enough assets to be able to retire at one point. We also have a lot of listeners that are retired right now and they want to protect what they have, but also keep it. Now, some of their capital is with a broker or, like an IRA or 401k, and they want to be able to gather their arms and just really grasp what they have in their accounts and do it themselves. What are some of the easiest, what is the quickest way to start doing that?
Well, the quickest way, it really is to come to one of these classes to find out whether this is the right direction for you to go in. And if it is, then understand that the education, the gathering of knowledge is available. I mean, anybody can participate in the markets. That's a great thing. It's also a bad thing if you don't know what you're doing. So the access to the markets is there. Access to education is there. And really, as financial educators, what we want to do is, because most people don't do this because they're afraid. And they're afraid because of the unknown. And that's understandable. If you don't know how something functions, you don't know how to use it, there's fear there. So our goal is to make the unknown known. And that's where you get the confidence, get the knowledge to be able to do this, and then also have the skills, have access to the building of the skills to be able to use the knowledge properly. And one of the things that we provide for our students, I mentioned before, we kind of take you by the hand and walk you down this path. You mentioned before emotions. One of the ways that you control those emotions is to do that path. That's a step-by-step process you follow based on a set of rules. And step one has a set of rules that you have to follow. And you go to step two by following those rules, and then step two has rules, and so on. And then also, we think that it's important that once you have gone through the knowledge part of the education and we help you start building the skills, you also need to have support. And we have somebody who actually is a student support specialist whose full-time responsibility is to support our students, to help them stay on the right path. First of all, we're going to help you identify what that path is, then help you stay on the path. And that's something that should be customized to each person. People learn at different paces, different speeds. You need support at every step along that path, regardless of where you are. And the help has to be there. You shouldn't have to go through hoops to get it. If you need something, if you need some assistance and guidance, you need to be able to get that assistance and guidance when you need it. And that's what our student support specialist provides.
Yeah, and it's just having a part of a community behind you. I mean, trading and investing, when people are doing it themselves, that's a lonely ball game. But when you have a community behind you, people that are helping you, you're helping other people once you understand it. That brings more confidence. And Al, is getting close to the end of the show. And, we have so many people listening right now, all over the country, really, that want to get started. They want to get started trading and investing and are just looking for a little guidance on how. So, Al, we got some words of wisdom this week?
Yeah, you know what? From one procrastinator to another, which in reality is most of you listening, stop. Stop today. With most things in life, we can put it off until tomorrow. We can put it off maybe tomorrow or next week doing something. If you want to play golf, the course is still going to be there next week. If you want to go fishing, the lake will still be there tomorrow. But what about financial opportunities? Every opportunity available today will not be there tomorrow. Every dollar that could have been realized today can never be realized again. And every dollar that's missed is one that can never go to work for you, providing more dollars. It's the loss of the magic of compounding. So the more you procrastinate, the more you delay what could be and what you feel or what your full potential could have been. The great market opportunities we're seeing now may not be there tomorrow. So today is the time to take that first step.
Yeah, well, one of the problems is it's human nature to say, I have to think about it. Well, the more you think about things, the more you miss out on those opportunities. So what it does take is it takes a little bit of action, and that action is right now. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Same time, same place. Until next week, retire young, my friends.